Welcome to the Retrograde video game podcast, where this week we escape the fires of hell together.
Oh, wow. My name's Andrew Bascom, with me, as always, is the best boy of podcasting, Mr. Best Boy himself,
Mikey Luciferenworth.
Luciferenworth. Oh, Mikey, we just played Chain together over on YouTube. Please go watch that gameplay segment. That is up there with some of the most fun I've ever had playing a game on this podcast.
Oh, see, you didn't have to use the qualifier.
On this podcast?
I thought you were just going to be some of the most fun I've ever had.
Could you imagine? It was like that one time at summer camp, losing my virginity and playing a video game for a podcast that one time.
I lost my virginity at summer camp multiple times.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You just lied a lot?
Yeah. I was like, don't take advantage of me.
I was 32.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The counselors loved that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, this was a super fun experience, but you are right too. Where like you go out for coffee with someone at the end of it, they're like, that was the most fun I've ever had. And you're like, excuse me?
Yeah, you're like, what? Oh, wow. I'm never going to see you again. That is too much to put it. Yeah.
This was actually a ton of fun. We laughed as hard as we've laughed in a long time with the gameplay segments. We basically set a timer and we gave ourselves 45 minutes. The premise of this game, Chained Together, which we'll get into a lot more kind of after the introductory stuff, is that you're trying to escape the pits of hell by climbing upwards. We gave ourselves 45 minutes to see how high we could get, and we laughed our fucking asses off. So go over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/retrograde podcast, and check out that gameplay portion of the video. I think it'll inform the rest of this podcast episode before we get into the actual review. But before we do get into that review, before we
Steve Gutenberg
that, let's talk a little bit about some general gaming updates, Andrew.
Okay, you let this slip from your Whispering Vault on the gameplay segment.
Yes.
And if you watch the gameplay segment, you know what I'm talking about. That you're playing Astro Bot.
I am playing Astro Bot.
This is the game of the moment.
It's possibly the game of the year.
Everybody, it says like, you playing Astro Bot? I'm like, the thing with the robot, the Wall-E type thing? And I'm like, that's actually like a game. They're like, it is they grab you like you're it's the best game of all time. And I'm like, whoa.
So that happened with Astro's Playroom, which was the game that was essentially bundled in with the PlayStation 5. If you went online, you could download it. It showcased the DualSense controller, but was at its core a platformer like Banjo-Kazooie, or like actually Banjo-Kazooie is a good comparison, because you're trying to save these little bots all around the place, at least in Astro Bot. And when that game came out, everyone was like, you don't understand. It may be like a 6-hour experience, but this game is incredible.
Yeah.
With Astro's Playroom. I played it. It was good. I liked the showcase of the DualSense controller. I'm a big fan of the DualSense controller.
Yes, you are.
But when I heard Astro Bot was coming out, I was like, okay, sure. Like I didn't really think too much about it. And I don't think a lot of people really had it circled as momentous as it ended up being. But when reviews started dropping for this game, we were looking at like 95s, 96s, arguably like game of the year comparisons to some of the other games that have come out. So I've played it. It's a lot of fun. And at its core, it's fun. And I think that it's good to have games that are just fun for fun's sake. It feels a lot like a playground or like a sandbox. If Mario or Banjo-Kazooie had more hardware mechanics to the ways in which you solve their puzzles, opening up a collectible or something for a level in Astro Bot might net you a new item that you can only use in that little world, but it'll help you solve all of its puzzles. So it keeps everything feeling very fresh. You're essentially entering a world and you have to collect puzzle pieces, very similar to Banjo-Kazooie, and all your little Astro Bot buddies that got scattered around the galaxy. And it's very imaginative. It's very colorful. The music is fantastic, and I'm having a ton of fun playing it. But there's one major sticking point that I have with Astro Bot. And I don't know if I'm alone in this, but it feels like no one else is talking about it. So I figure I may as well bring it up. It's time we bring back this debate about death in video games and whether it's necessary in all video games. Because what this game positions itself as and sells itself as is it's like a sandbox. Not a sandbox game where it's open world and you can do whatever, but it's like you're a kid in a sandbox, you pick up this plastic shovel, and now you can change the world and play around with it. And it's not about succeeding as much as it is about enjoying the experience of building. Or here's a little action figure and you can play with that. In Astro Bot, if you get hit by one thing ever, you die. You're dead and you have to start back at the beginning of the most recent checkpoint. So there is a checkpoint system. That's good. Yeah. However, from where you were at in the checkpoint to anywhere else, any coins that you collected, you have to collect them over again. You have to redo certain elements of the game that just feel, it just feels frustrating for frustrating's sake. Like imagine if every time you were building a sandcastle or something and you like took a scoop of sand and then dropped the shovel or something. It's like, no, you have to start over again with the whole sandcastle.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like that, it's the least fun part of the game. And I don't think it's necessary. It just forces you to go and do things over again that were fun the first time you did them. But now with the guise of there being kind of like a penalty, and it's like, go do everything you just did again because you got touched by an enemy that decided to shoot its spikes out randomly. I don't know.
Yeah. Why do you think they do that? Is it like, it's not for children, right?
It's not for children. And I think there's, whether the developers had the plan or not, or it was a producer that came in and they're like, guys, you have to have death.
Yeah.
It could just be that's what video games are. But I want more developers to be more exploratory in what punishment is in a game. If you're going to make me die and start over at a checkpoint, great. But don't make me arbitrarily go and pick up coins that I've already picked up. That's not fun. There's nothing fun about that. So if you're making a fun game, then it feels like I'm in jail for no reason for a little bit of time. I wonder if instead of dying, you just had like a Sonic thing where if you get hit, 10 coins scatter about and you can run around and grab them. Or if you fall, it puts you back to the ledge, but you lose 10 coins or something along those lines. Feels like less of a fun tax and more of just a mechanic that's built into it.
Yeah, I get that in the way that this game is supposed to be just, fun through and through. So like, why would you have something that actively takes away from the fun?
Yeah, exactly.
I get that. I keep hearing amazing things about this game.
It is very, very good. It's very good. The story is whatever. What the best part about the game though is it's play on nostalgia. Okay. It's like if you've been playing PlayStation games for as long as you and I have, around every corner, this is like the Pokemon Snap of PlayStation. Like a lot of it is, it's like you see this little puzzle there and you're like, I don't know how to solve this. And then it ends up being a solution that's related to like Ape Escape or something like an old Sony game. And you'll see like this guy kind of like circling around and you incorporate him to solve the puzzle and it opens up a door and now you get an unlockable bot that's looks like Solid Snake or something like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of dopamine hit of getting a bot that looks like a character that you're familiar with and then being able to interact with that bot back on your home planet it is engaging and addicting in a way that I don't think is always necessarily a result of it being fantastic in the same way that Pokemon Snap isn't. Sometimes it's like the reward is you just saw a Pikachu as opposed to like, wasn't it fun to interact with that Pikachu sometimes?
You saw a Pikachu.
Holy shit.
Oh my God.
He's in 3D.
Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Well, so you're saying people should play this game.
I think people should play this game. The one thing I will point out is Astro's Playroom was a game that you got for free with the PlayStation 5. This is an $80 game in Canadian. It's a full priced game.
Is it full price game?
It's full price, and from what I've heard, it takes about 9 to 10 hours to beat. It feels like this should have been a $40 title. I was very surprised when I found out how expensive it was.
Who makes it? Do you know?
It may be Sony.
Okay,
first party.
That would make sense. It was attached to the first one. Well, that's interesting. Okay, well we had to get that out of the way because everyone's talking about that one. I've even gotten messages like from people going like, "You playing this game?"
Yeah.
I'm like, oh boy,
I was talking to an old friend of the show, past guest Dario, and trying to convince him to at least start with Astro's Playroom because why not? It's free. Yeah,
because why not? It's free.
What more do you want from me?
That's such a solid argument.
Why wouldn't you rate and review this podcast, Andrew? It's free.
That's what I'm saying to everybody out there.
That's what we're saying to you right now.
Why aren't you rating and reviewing this thing?
Why aren't you rating and reviewing this thing?
5 stars.
5 stars. Why aren't you rating and reviewing?
Or thumbs up or whatever the hell it is on your platform that you're watching it on.
You know what?
Or listening
on. Never mind the platform. If you're on the bus right now, take one of your fucking pixel buds out of your ear, turn to the person beside you and say, I'm listening to the Retrograde podcast, and give them a thumbs up. Give the person beside you a thumbs up.
Yeah. And then they'll understand what that means.
They will understand because 9 times out of 10.
It's a sex thing.
It's a sex thing.
And they go, all right, ding, ding.
They say, put it down on the seat. I will sit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, part of Astro Bot.
Yes.
Yeah.
How so? Sorry, what?
It's part of Astro Bot?
Sitting on thumbs?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very hypersexual game. People don't know that.
Dual sense. Yeah. Controller. There's something there.
You really feel it.
You really feel it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I haven't played that game yet. No. I'm still head over heels with Outlaws.
When you say head over heels,
I mean, no, in with 2 feet. How about that?
Okay. Because in the to catch everyone up, you were kind of like, it's a totally fine
catch
game.
Was probably a very scary 3 words for you, and then you're like, to catch everyone up. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Not a predator.
You almost told me to sit down for a second, and I was like,
take a seat.
I've been so good for so long.
I know. I brought all these pizzas, a 6-pack of beer. Wow, what a game! What a show that was. That was a show they put on television.
That is wild.
That's wild. Like,
and now it's like that was one of those shows that was ahead of its time because it's perfect for the TikTok generation.
it is so perfect.
Yes.
And then what was it? Not Scott Hansen. Something.
Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen.
Yeah.
Scott Hansen does NFL Red Zone. They probably would be like now, like on TikTok, be like, you're like, take a seat, just chill out, bro. It's just a prank.
No cap.
Also, no
cap. You're going to jail.
Yeah, no cap. You got major Riz. That's the problem. You tried to pick up a 12-year-old.
Tried to pick up a 12-year-old.
I tapped my forearm. Okay. Yeah, I'm playing Outlaws. I still really like it. I seem to only collect people on the internet that like now like it.
That is now the pushback, like the counter to the initial,
which also
reviews.
drives me crazy. By the way,
Yeah.
I hate when people are like they're enjoying something and then they make people feel bad for not liking it.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I think there was way too much hate for a game that's like just everyone needs to fucking relax.
Like you said, it has the Star Wars license. That's what's
it
gonna
is
happen.
the thing. If this was any other game, people would just whatever.
Yeah.
You know, not for me or whatever it is. I just want to say one small thing as a I don't know annex type thing to my previous review on it.
Sure.
And this is not a spoiler, but I'm just going to say, if anyone doesn't want to ruin any part of the game whatsoever, maybe skip ahead 30 seconds.
Darth Vader is the final boss.
No, thank God.
Oh, so he isn't in the game. Andrew's confirming Darth Vader is not in Star Wars Outlaws.
So far. He probably is going to be. but he's not so far. But one character does show up. And there's two references to characters, and I thought, whatever. When I visited Jabba,
that's cool.
There's polycarbonate in the background.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, oh, that's Han.
That's cool.
And so they don't really address it. You can see her look though, whatever. And because polycarbonate does show up in a couple of different things in the thing. And then later in the Sabacc tournament, which is poker, and I like playing Sabacc, and you're trying to beat all these high rollers, somebody gives you a little bit of advice, and it's a very smooth voice of Lando Calrissian.
No way.
And he steps out of the shadow and goes like, hey, I can help you out, kid. And you're like, great. And then he goes away. And you're like, okay, that's enough.
That's exactly the level that you want.
You feel like you're living in a world because a famous drug runner, underground world person would help you out for a second, and then you have to help him out by getting like a thing for him, and then he goes away.
That's great.
But the reason I bring that up is because I want to highlight one of the things that I didn't bring up last time that I really like is that when you learn new skills, abilities, whatever in this game, it's because you've met somebody and they taught you it.
Okay.
And so in this character, in the thing, there's abilities, and every time you meet somebody, there's a progression of like, oh, I met that bomb builder, and like we did some missions together.
True.
But then as I get better, he'll teach me stuff of like, oh, you want to build a bomb? And it just feels organic in the world instead of like, all of a sudden I figured this out.
Yeah. I put a stat point into
Totally.
Yeah.
So like Lando was one of the guys, and he goes like, I can teach you how to make a magnetic dice. And you're like, yeah, you would know how to do that, Lando. That's awesome. Yeah.
When you met Sebulba, he just taught you to be just the biggest piece of shit in the galaxy. Just the biggest piece of picking on orphans, like killing orphans. That's the job he's in.
Yeah. I'm screwing up the joke, but what was the guy's name that in the beginning of that taught you the thing about portions?
Oh, Unkar Plutt.
Unkar Plutt taught me about fractions. It was funnier if I just had that off the top of my head, but you got what I'm saying.
You think Unkar Plutt would make a good like
1/4 is more than
portion?
1/8.
Voiced by Simon Pegg.
No way.
Yeah. Huh. Do you think that
That's my ship.
he would have made a good Schoolhouse Rock?
Schoolhouse Rock, yeah.
Schoolhouse Rock?
Yeah.
1/4 portion, that's all you get.
1/3 is more than. I'm doing Cookie Monster, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
So was Simon Pegg. So
hey, all the power to them. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that ability thing, which I always find really interesting because then I'm now working on stuff of like Nyx can now. Nyx is progressively.
Nyx is your
Nyx is the little
sidekick.
animal sidekick who I love, and there is a mission where they steal him, and I literally went, I will kill every single one of you. I will murder every one of you. And I get him back. Don't worry. But
your wife just like calls the cops. Like, he's doing it again. Gosh, sorry.
Oh, trust
we thought
me.
he was over this.
My player one, I was like, they took Nick. She goes, go get him. I'm like, I got it. It's just like brew some coffee. I gotta deal with this shit. Is that I don't worry about Kay, the main character, becoming Breaking Bad and like just getting worse and worse and becoming a Nathan Drake type genocidal maniac. Yeah. Whatever, so be it. But I do worry about Nix, who I'm teaching things that are just getting progressively more just twisted. Like, you know, it used to be like steal something, distract them. Now I can make him set off the grenades that are in their pockets and they just explode. And I'm like, Jesus. I was like, dude, and he comes back like, and I'm like, well, well, good job. Jesus Christ, there's limbs everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah.
What is the violence level in the game? Is there blood?
No, because there's lasers, which I always think about Roger Ebert's review, and I forget what it was for, where he talks in the whole review about how you can't dodge lasers.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense.
You can't see lasers.
You can't.
Like
you just all of a sudden be like, I'm dead. A laser hit me. Yeah. And instead I'm dodging lasers left and right.
They move way faster than bullets.
There's no,
but also fuck a critic like Roger Ebert who fixates on that. Like, no, science fiction.
Why don't we just chill, my guy?
Yeah.
He's like, I watch 2,000 movies a year. This drives me crazy. No, I wouldn't say the violence is too strong. You never really see blood. There's a lot of physical violence because there's a lot of melee and like sneak attacks and stuff like that.
They're going to say like male on women, like male on female physical
violence. Sexual violence. Yeah.
Always with the Star Wars.
Yeah. Just a trigger warning for the game, everybody. Is that no? But there isn't actually like you never see like you know, whatever, like blood or like a slash throat or something.
It's similar to like the Jedi Survivor, where you could like chop up an animal, like slice them into two with the last swing of your lightsaber. But when it comes to stormtroopers and stuff, they just kind of get like marks on them.
They just fall over in one piece.
Yeah.
It would be, there is no lightsabers I've seen yet. Cause if I see a Jedi, swear to Christ, I'm going to be so mad.
Well, seeing a Jedi is cool.
Yeah, if I saw them like getting off a ship and you're like, what's that? And you're like, a couple Jedis. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would be something because that would be a thing. Just cloaks. Never seen them before.
There's my prediction. There's no way you can go through a full Star Wars game without seeing a Jedi. 0% chance.
I'll report back when I'm beating the game. But yeah. No, otherwise I'm continuing to play.
You're going to stick with it? It's a thumbs up on a bus for you?
Thumbs up on a bus. Everyone sit on the thumb because we're having a good time. Rate and review the Retrograde podcast.
Rate and review the Retrograde podcast. And we're going to rate and review the game that we played today over on our YouTube channel. We spent 45 solid minutes playing Chained Together. Andrew, did you know much about this game before we started playing?
Other than I've seen it on TikTok. I've seen people playing it and laughing.
Yeah.
But it kind of like Fall Guys, kind of like, what was that moving service game we did?
Totally Reliable Delivery Service.
Totally Reliable Delivery Service. There's a few games like that feel like, Among Us. Like, I think that's a big one.
Sure.
Those are the ones like built for playing on a platform.
Yeah.
And so it's not surprising we did it today.
I thought you were going a different route with that when you bring up Totally Reliable and Fall Guys, because those are those kinds of games that were very popular for a while where you barely had control over. It was like wacky physics-based games. Yes. And one of the things I really like about this game, before we kind of lay the groundwork of what it's all about, is the controls are pretty one-to-one with what you expect your characters to do.
Yes.
You are chained to another person. There's local multiplayer and there's online multiplayer. There's also a solo mode that you can practice in. You start at the bottom of hell. You're trying to reach your way up to the top of hell. However many people you're playing with, you're chained with those people. So if I try to move too far forward, I'm either getting stopped by you or pulling you forward. If I fall off a ledge, I might pull you off the ledge. There are tough ways that you can kind of incorporate sometimes to pull your partner back up if they fall, which we found somewhat inconsistent in terms of the controls. I'm sure there's someone who can explain to us what we were doing wrong, but we tried quite a few things to figure that out. There are various difficulties in the game, which I actually really like when you play a game like Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy or any of these other games that are meant to test your patience. Usually it's one mode and it's super hard. There's a beginner mode in this that allows you to teleport back up to your highest checkpoint in the event that you fall, which you do a lot in this game. And there's also an even harder mode where there's lava chasing you as you're trying to climb as fast as you can.
Oh God, is that what that is?
That's what that is.
Oh, that is so much worse.
That's so much worse.
Oh God, because it's a platformer essentially.
Yes,
and you're jumping up different styles of platforms. Sometimes they're like plank style things. Maybe they're flat, but they have a time to them. Maybe there's a windmill that you're trying to get through.
Made of bones sometimes.
Made of bones. It's much like mini golf, but like you're chained together and
you're the ball.
You're the ball,
and you're chained to another ball.
Yeah,
and no one's hitting you. In fact, it's not really like that.
There's a windmill. There's a windmill.
Abe Lincoln
there was an Abe Lincoln Lowe's. Yeah, you had to off a ramp get into a clown's mouth, and then you got a free round because of it.
That's true.
Yeah, I did. There's always a father yelling at a child
for sure,
and there's always
a teenager that takes a full swing at one of the balls, and that's not fun for anyone.
That's not fun.
No.
No,
that kid's going to hell.
Yeah, that kid.
That
I
kid
saw
is
him
going
down
to
there.
hell.
Yeah.
It was a game that came out June 19th, 2024. So a relatively new game. It was developed and published by Anagar Games. And I don't know anything about this company. I looked them up. I think it's a solo developer. Good for them. But in terms of other games, they have another one that's coming up, and I don't see much about them. So a pretty impressive debut for them. I'm not sure if they worked with other companies. I tried to look them up as much as possible, couldn't find it. Let's talk maybe about some Steam reviews before we get into some more of the stuff.
Let's get into the sauna.
I always like to do this to kind of lay the. Sorry, what?
Let's get into the sauna for some Steam reviews.
Andrew, that's good. We should get a drop for that.
100%.
What would it sound like?
And then yeah.
I lost my towel. No.
You're in a sauna and then you go, what do you think about this? Steam reviews.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say you're in a sauna and it's so steamed up.
Yeah.
You don't know who else is in there with you.
Yeah.
You could even be alone.
Right.
What is the one thing you don't want to hear from the other side of that steam?
What do you think about this? What
I'm going to need a hand with this.
Is that a Boyle or a Mark? I don't know. Yeah. Can I get a hand?
Can I get a hand with this?
Because it could be something very innocent, but you just no chance it is.
And if they follow up with, please, it's very slippery. That's not something
time sensitive.
Do you have any wipes on you?
Yeah.
I hope that door can open again.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with the door. Yeah.
Oh, isn't that like a Final Destination thing where the sauna locks and then they just die in there?
But I mean,
terrifying.
How long would that take?
I don't know. Crank that thing up. I have no idea.
Yeah, true.
Probably wouldn't take that long.
Would you prefer saunas or ice baths?
I am sick, so I prefer ice baths. There's a place in Toronto that I'm not going to name just in case they come after me, but is that they do an ice bath and sauna, and it's very much a cult. And because you think like, oh, that's like a medical thing, sauna, hot, cold, hot, that's great. And it's like, no, it's everything else outside of that. The combination of both. Yeah, it's much like a hot tub, and then you jump in the snow and you jump back in the hot tub. Yeah, the best feeling in the world. If it's just a sauna, I don't know. I do it because it's good for me, but I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like I can handle saunas better, but I think the effects of an ice bath are really good. And by the way, we're going to be selling our own ice baths in tandem with all the other.
It is funny though that the ice bath thing is like, that like layman medical knowledge. You go, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like it shocks your system, makes your body work really hard for recovery, whatever. And then everybody, even in the pseudosciences, are like, there's nothing actually that we found that does it. Like, there's no like medical report that does anything. And you're like, well, it's thousands of years of people doing this. Yeah. So I firmly believe that this is helpful.
It's like Eastern medicine.
Well, how far
it isn't East, but like the concept of Eastern medicine, where it's like ginseng will help, and they're like, well, where's the data?
Yeah,
it's like thousands of years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is ginseng good?
I don't know.
Andrew,
you're telling me something new. I have no idea.
I thought you'd be on board.
It sounds good.
And much like Chained Together, you left me behind, dude.
Okay, we should talk about Chained Together.
Sure.
Our strategy of getting through the game together. I don't know if you want to jump ahead of how we did, but
it
was pretty good. So we were one of two schools going back and forth. It was
Montagues and Capulets.
Yes. Those are families.
Schools of humans.
Like fish? Mm-hmm. Okay. We would do one where we're like 1, 2, 3, go, and we would jump and we would take our time. And then other times it was like we had a lit fuse behind us and we would call it based on vibes. We said, just go on vibes. And it was almost
what do you think we did better with, vibes or on the
we absolutely did better on vibes.
We absolutely did better on vibes.
It's funny because we were almost playing like it was a solo game.
Yeah.
So if you had to just do it on your own, what would you do?
Yeah.
And actually we ended up better.
Yeah, we were just kind of like, let's do this as though we're doing it solo, but start at the same time, and then we'll just get to where we're going.
Yeah.
How do you think
get to where we're
get to where we're going? Heaven.
That's so good.
Heaven. How do you think, if you could rate our performance relative to how two other podcasters the first time playing this game did, how do you think we did?
7.5 out of 10.
I think that's exactly right.
Yeah. Like there are definitely people that are better at this than we are, or probably did better on the first
nerds
go.
Though.
Nerds.
Fucking nerds.
We did have to restart a lot. So that's an important part we should talk about.
Right.
So there is...
That's part of beginner mode.
It's part of, there's a difficulty level thing. Mikey said there was a lava level, which is one of the harder ones. This is beginner mode, meaning once you get to, there's checkpoints and you can restart to your checkpoint. because one of the thing about the game is you're moving up like a Tears of the Kingdom style thing.
Yeah.
And every time that you don't get it, you plummet back to Earth and hope to hit one of the other platforms on the way back up, or you could start from the ground up.
And there's no fall damage, we should say.
There's no fall damage.
So you hit the
no
bottom,
death.
and wherever you hit, that's where you're climbing from again.
Unlike this game where you're in hell, there's no death. But Astro Bot, we're cute little robots. You're gonna die.
There is death. You're gonna die, and
die.
it's gonna be the screams that Astro Bot makes when he gets spiked by an animal.
He's falling out, trying to put the parts back inside. He's like, oh God, oh God.
But he struggles with it. They slip because I don't know who designed him this way, but he bleeds.
Yeah.
And
red blood.
Have you seen
Not oil.
Have you seen Tim Roth in Reservoir Dogs?
Oh, of course, yes.
That there's that
Oh,
makes
fuck.
that fucking
fuck.
shit.
Oh, God.
I'm bleeding out.
Oh man.
That's Astro Bot.
That's Astro Bot. Unlike Chained Together, there's no death. And so you could start all the way at the bottom or you hit one of the other platforms. And that's a natural checkpoint that you're working your way back up. We did beginner mode where we could restart based on our furthest, what was it called?
The highest checkpoint.
Highest checkpoint.
Yeah.
And we did that 20-ish times.
See, the thing that scares me about the idea of playing it where when you fall, you're at the bottom is one of the ways you get through the challenges is by practicing them over and over again.
Yeah.
If you have to climb for 40 minutes to get back to the point you were at when you fell, and then and your next practice is then and there, the stakes are so much higher in a way that like from a streaming perspective, I get it. It's fun to watch people suffer, but from a gameplay perspective, no fucking way.
No, that's an easy way for me. That's a speed run of me quitting this game.
Yes.
Like, oh, fuck this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to take a couple cracks at it. That's what was so funny about it, I think. And I thought we did pretty well.
Yeah. I think we did. We made it pretty. There are different like layers, and we made it to what was it? The Whispering Vault.
The Whispering Vault.
We made it to the yonically named Whispering Vault.
We could not stop making vaginal references.
No,
to the Whispering Vault. Sorry, if you hear Whispering Vault,
what do you think?
What are you thinking?
What do you think, my lord? I have a gift for your Whispering Vault. Store it with pride.
I have a raven from the Whispering Vault.
Your Whispering Vault, lost for centuries, opened on this day with an effluvium of rot.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Is it word of the day calendar? What's going on?
Word of the day calendar is effluvium and yonic.
Yonic was good too. Yeah. So it only helped that we were able to restart, and I think it only helped our enjoyment of the game, but definitely helped us get further. There's no way around that.
For sure. But I honestly like even from just a streaming perspective, I think that if someone's tuning into a 12-hour stream to watch someone try and fail, I get it. But with you and I trying to see how far we can get in 45 minutes, when we got 20 minutes up and then fell, you and I wouldn't be funny anymore.
No.
We would be miserable.
Silence.
Yeah.
A lot
just like, let's
of
fucking get back to
furrowed
this thing.
brows.
Yes. Knowing that we could just continue allowed us, A, to try again without getting frustrated, and B, see more of the game that allowed us to, do what we do best, riff on it, baby.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're really good at riffing.
Yeah. We're like the head of the Jets in West Side Story.
We're like Montagues and Capulets, baby. Fish
Same
people
thing.
of the sea.
Same thing. Same thing. What was your favorite part of the game? What do you think it did well? How about that? Let's go with that. What did it do well?
You know what I think it did well, especially for a solo developer? I don't know what engine was used for this game, but it felt like
a Hemi.
It was probably a Hemi, a V8 of some sort.
Some kind. Maybe V12. I don't know.
See,
no, it's V8.
When I threw a can of tomato juice into my car, it broke immediately.
Too much sodium.
Too much
sodium.
The mechanic came out rubbing grease off his hands and said, well, I found your problem. He spat in a spittoon.
Anybody that drinks V8 juice is like, I'm always like, whoa, okay, that's crazy. Except if you're on a plane or at an inclusive resort, then you're like, V8, let it go. Let's go, baby.
Something that I've never understood. When you're on an airplane, everyone gets V8.
Salt.
But no one knows that. No one, if you ask them why they got V8, they're not saying because of sodium.
Okay.
It's just a thing people associate with airplanes.
That is so funny. We've never talked about this, and you and I are on the exact same page.
Yeah.
But it's so funny that so people drink sodium because it's good. It's like an electrolyte, and it's good for your like circulation or whatever.
I'm drinking electrolytes right now. I'm on board with electrolytes.
I know. No. Yeah. Do you want a can of Prime or do you want some V8 or something?
It's liquid IV.
Liquid IV. There we go. No free ads. is that it's like Ice Baths and things like that. It's
Yeah.
like, why do you guys do that? It's like, I don't know. It seems to do pretty well when people go in there. Like before we were able to actually make the medical science make sense, people were like, we've been doing it forever and it seems to do well for us. The difference is we're in a fucking airplane and people like technology's pretty good right now. And we're like, I don't know. V8 just makes me feel better when I'm on a plane.
That's the thing. I don't know.
But I do it. Little vodka, little V8.
Oh, well, vodka's different. You're getting a Caesar in.
Well, those are that's a Bloody Mary.
A Bloody
Thank you
Mary.
very much.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Don't say it one more time.
Can I say Beetlejuice though? Or do they mix up?
Beetlegeist?
No, Beetlegeist.
I saw it. It's good.
I'm looking forward to it. I want to see it.
Yeah, do it. Is that like I love that. But any other time if somebody was like, we're just out at lunch, somebody's like, can I have V8? You'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What
You
the fuck is
okay?
wrong with you?
Jesus.
How did we get on the
What
V8,
engine?
The engine. I don't know what
it was.
engine
A Hemi.
I don't know. It was a Hemi or a V8, which I tried to put in my car. Oh God, it's happening again.
We're on a plane.
I was impressed with how tight the controls felt. It at times felt very loose and floaty, but not necessarily in a Fall Guys way where it really interfered or felt like the mechanics were working against you. It set up the groundwork of being like, guys, it's a little wonky. That's going to help you sometimes, and that's going to hurt you sometimes. But you live and die by these mechanics. I felt it felt tighter than a game that's solo developed and is kind of like meant for streaming typically feels. Does that make sense?
I think that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I'm impressed to hear that it was one person. While this game is very simple, it is. It is a very simple game. I was going to give it more credit. It's a very simple game, but I think it even looks okay. This is always what I imagine Dark Souls looks like.
Parts of it, we were going at a certain part of it, and there were like these kind of almost like wooden shanty town things built into the mountains, and it looked like Blight Town from Dark Souls. Like it very much borrows aesthetically, I think, from parts of Dark Souls.
Yeah, like it even just like the, I think its portrayal of hell is kind of hilarious. Like it's like, oh, it's bones, and it's like
That's what it is, though.
it is.
That's what hell looks like.
Like a catacomb.
Like a whispering vault, actually.
Oh, like a whispering vault.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Ew.
You,
Ugh.
he says.
No, I'm more a DJ Khaled man. If I,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. More men should be, I think.
Yeah.
I don't want to get throat cancer.
Yeah. Michael Douglas was a warning for all of us.
He was a warning for all of us.
He had this horrible job of going down on Catherine Zeta-Jones.
And I just pity the guy.
Yeah, what a tough job he had. Pour one out to the real ones. He's not dead. Nah, whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I that's part of it where it did look like that, but then there's at points there's cars. There's a very cartoon little Satan baby who's like, hey guys, how you doing?
I don't
He's
know
got
what
like a
his
Brooklyn
purpose
accent.
was. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It does make sense that someone from Brooklyn runs hell, though.
Yeah, but he hasn't been potty trained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a diaper on.
Yeah, a little nappy.
He had a little nappy. But here's the thing. Hell is a pretty dirty place.
I imagine.
Based on my experience and this game.
Mm-hmm.
Just shit.
Yeah, you're right.
Just shit.
Why would you cover yourself up? Why would they make them wear clothing?
Why would they do
Are
that?
we free of that embarrassment
How
and
long
burden?
does the clothing last before Satan's like, okay, guys, it's fire time? And they just burn the clothes right off.
He's like the cruise director. 4 o'clock on the Lido deck, fire time. Please join us.
Followed by bingo.
Yeah, bingo. Oh, that's fun. Not that way. It's like, oh no.
Every letter is 69. It's like O 69, B 69.
Oh, 69. And everyone's like, woo.
At first you're like, hell, it's a great place.
Yeah, like this is great. And then he's like, oh, 69. And the same people are, woo. And you're like, oh my God, I think I'm going to die. Oh my God.
That is hellish if the only letter is O 69,
Yes.
not B 69. It's just O 69.
O 69
and
every
no
time.
one's card has it.
No. But you're still playing with 50% of the people are like, woo! And you're like, God damn it.
And finally, like at the end of a century of this bingo game, you get to the point where you're one letter away from a full card and he pulls 069 and one person's like, bingo!
2000's time pulling 069 and somebody goes, bingo. And you're like, that's impossible. That's impossible. I don't know. No, let me check the card. 069? 069? 069? Fucking, you gotta be kidding me. This is rigged.
Oh, man.
Sir, if you don't quiet down, all right, let's start again. 069. Oh, he's like, ah! Just throw yourself on a window.
This is the kind of thing that a game like this does. It just it makes you loose. It makes you feel loose.
Yeah.
Where, like, a game like this, here's a question I'll put to you. Would you ever play this game just you?
Doesn't that defeat the purpose? Oh, can you play with the computer?
You can play with just yourself.
You can just Jump around?
Yeah, they call
change-
it practice mode or something like that.
Oh, yeah. No, I would never do that.
Yeah, right.
That's just sadistic platforming.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, that doesn't
But
sound
people,
fun.
I think a lot of people might look at that and say, well, then that's bad game design. But I don't think so. I think there's a lot of games where, you know, I wouldn't want to play chess by myself.
This is a co-op game.
It's a co-op game.
Like, it takes two. You got to play with two people. Like, you know, like there's certain, like, there's a lot of first person shooters and stuff like that you could only play by yourself or play with other people, excuse me. So like, I don't understand. I don't believe or subscribe to that idea that that's bad game design.
It's kind of It Takes Two meets Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
The getting over it thing I now see very much.
For sure.
Now I'll say the other way is, would you ever want to play with 4 people in that boxed chain thing?
If we decided as a group of 4 people, or like you bring a 2-4 over.
Yes.
For each of us.
Yeah.
We're spending all night playing this game. Yes, I would do that in a heartbeat.
I see. That sounds like a ton of fun, and I want to do that more often with just in my normal life because, like, what the fuck is that cooking game called? I like so much.
Overcooked.
Overcooked. That's the same one where I'm like, can we all just get together and play Overcooked?
We should do that.
We should, because I like it's no different than people going like, we should have a board game night. It's like, well, that's the same thing. Like, you're just talking strategy, except you're working together, which I love. And it's the same thing with like, put a 2-4 on the table. It's like, one of these things are being finished first.
Not the glass table though. You'll break it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. But one of these things are being finished first, the case of beer or the game. And I can't really like, we're doing this. Okay. We're in. I
love that idea. That feels very much like a university thing. And then you get past it and you're like, well, we can't do that. It's like, but why?
I know. One of my
you want to go out to a bar and spend $300 on cocktails? No, come over. We're going to play Overcooked and we're going to drink a 2-4 beer.
That sounds so much fun to me.
So amazing.
This is like, okay, so one of my favorite drinking games of all time is beer baseball.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if that's regional or not, but it's essentially that you're playing, it's a version of beer pong, flip cup, and with baseball rules.
And at the end of it, you take a bottle of beer, you swing it like a baseball bat at someone's head.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like President or whatever it is from New Girl. True American. It doesn't have real rules. I love that game, but the problem is it takes a ton of people, a ton of commitment, and a lot of beer.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like, I don't know. I totally understand.
It's very hard to get it going.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could just do this? It'd be so much fun. Yeah.
It would be. Sometimes you just have to, like, in our older age, we have to be like, okay, guys, 3 innings.
Yeah.
We can all do 3 innings.
3 innings and like gentlemen stealing bases.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, shake your hands like, I'm going to be stealing this base. It's like, thank you for letting me know.
Thank you very much.
No, okay.
The worst part about, I think, getting older when it comes to party games is the switch from beer in the cup beer pong to water in the cup beer pong.
I know, but
that sucks.
We just went through a pandemic, you know, like
probably because we started using water and our immune systems were our constitutions were shot.
Oh, I just use Purell. I just chug Purell.
You chug Purell?
Yeah, I do. I put it in there. I'm like, oh, you sunk a cup. Time to clean up my insides.
Andrew, that's not good though.
Really?
No, you're not supposed to drink Purell.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking either that or
you inject it.
Or bat blood from a wet market in Wuhan. I was thinking one of the two, and then one, and then the other. I was like a chase.
See, that's good.
I'm getting both sides of it.
They call that the Wuhan Bloody Mary.
Yeah, and then
are we going to be apologizing for this? Who knows?
I don't know. I think. Well, this is like every episode. I go, people know we're joking, right? I don't even know.
You're joking
about what? Drinking bat blood? Yes, I'm joking.
Oh.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
So didn't he used to do that by the head of a bat in his concerts?
Yeah. I think that's a real story, isn't it?
I don't know. That's why I asked you.
Maybe that's how the pandemic started.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone didn't look at Ozzy
because
Osbourne.
He didn't chug Purell after it.
That's the thing, right?
I'm gonna put the head over this bat and then chug Purell.
See, you know what? It's funny. It's definitely offensive, but it's accurate, and that's important.
It's important we talk about it.
Yeah,
because we don't want to get on the side of a new pandemic and forget that it started when a rock star bit the head off of a bat. We just can't forget these things.
Yeah,
someone somewhere, probably Taylor Swift, is going to grab a bat from the midair.
Yep,
chew its head off.
Yeah. Wow, that would be the craziest thing. At a concert, Taylor Swift snaps it out of the air and bites its head off. You're like, wow.
She grabs it. You're like, Manu Ginobili, my guy.
This is one of the best clips of all time. One of the best clips of all time. He had to get shots afterwards. That is so good. Whenever we are attacked by a Chinese lowland creature, the panda.
Okay, yes.
We have to describe it as a pandemic, right?
Andrew, now I hope it happens.
Now I hope it happens. We're overrun by pandas. I hope those little psychos, those little idiots decide to start having sex with each other so that there's way too many of those like rabbits.
Their manifesto is just like, we didn't want to have sex.
There's a reason we're trying to eliminate our species.
We see your social media. No one's happy. Neither are we. Let us die.
They do. Those little psychos just try to kill themselves all the time. I love it. I love
them. Okay, so let's do what we were going to do. Go through some of the Steam reviews before we got on the Sonic.
Fuck me. That was 20 minutes ago.
So we have the aggregate on Steam is always, positive, very positive.
Did you play the drop?
Which
you didn't play the Steam reviews drop? Oh, I thought. Okay.
No, that was that conversation that we just had.
I thought in the time that we talked about it, Elliot would have had it ready, queued it up. No,
he didn't.
You didn't do it. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry.
I thought we were doing the drop.
I thought
that's what that conversation was.
That is. You drop that 20 minutes every time about,
and then you end with a conversation on beer baseball.
Taylor Swift biting the head off a bat.
Like all of our conversations these days. Welcome to 2024.
Am I right?
Okay, so Steam Reviews, the aggregate has it at very positive. So a lot of positive reviews.
That's good.
Understandably so.
Yep.
Winter Snow, spelt with a Y. Guess where the Y is?
In snow.
Winter Snowy says, thumbs up, 6.8 hours on record. Their review is, every couple should play this game to see if they're compatible.
No, you should not. That's a terrible idea. Yeah, if you want to break up with somebody, play
this game. Zoomy says, thumbs up, 0.8 hours on record. Played this game with my boyfriend for 49 minutes. We decided to kill ourselves instead. 9 out of 10. I like the graphics and the yelling.
Same amount of time that we played.
Yeah, same amount of time. Yeah.
I think we did better than they did.
I think we definitely did better than they did. Ferris, thumbs down. I got extremely angry after getting so far just for my partner to think he's funny and fall all the way down. Never play with your idiot friends. I hate that guy. More of a review on the friend, I think.
Yeah, that's thumbs down on friendship. But that's not a funny joke going like, life's not worth living. I think
it is. In real life, I mean.
Yeah, it's so funny.
See, your suicide note just says JK.
Yeah, was there a note? Yeah, they mentioned you. It's like, oh no, I don't want to hear it. Is that I wish there was more stuff with the chain, like you could hang over like an edge to get like.
I expected a little more of that.
It seems like sometimes the chain matters, and other times the chain does not matter at all. One of our last ones is a platform with 4 pillars coming out. It's a circle, but there's 4 pillars in whatever the corners of that circle would be, and we could walk through those.
Yes.
And then other times you got hooked by stuff. And I couldn't put together when it was going to matter or not.
That feels like a Chained Together 2, where the chain starts to have more physics with it, where it's like, in order to get across this thing, we each have to jump on either side of it at the same time. And now it's like holding us and we're sliding it, something along those lines. Or, it gets caught up in a swinging windmill or something like that, which I think it can actually, but you're right. Sometimes it didn't matter. I would love a more consistent, draw in mechanic when your partner is flailing off the side of the thing. It felt like that was very hit and miss sometimes, but generally speaking, I think it worked pretty well because it didn't set up the chain as something that you had to really worry about or work with all too much. So it's like, okay, like there's more that they could have built into it, but the fact that it's not there doesn't really hurt the game too much.
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. So all in all, Andrew, any other thoughts about Chained Together as an experience?
It is. How much is this game retailing for?
I think it's like $8.99 or something.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
exactly.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
In fact, I got to be honest, I think they could do $29.99 for this.
I was going to say, as long as it's not a full retail game.
Yeah.
Or 40 or whatever. But
yeah,
cheaper side, then yes, absolutely. Because this is more of a spectacle than it is a game. It's more of one of those things that you see it, you see somebody playing, maybe even you at home are looking at us playing this and going like, oh, I almost want to do this as like a stunt.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Do that. That is absolutely worth it for that reason. But is it like a game? Because I don't know.
I got to be honest. If this were a full priced game, I don't think we'd be doing it on the podcast. So they have to keep in, even if it's $39.99, we're like, is it worth it? I don't know, maybe not. But I think for the content we got, it was $8.99
for $8.99.
Easy,
absolutely
easy decision. And I hope that's
the price of a Big Mac
nowadays. Yeah, barely even get you there.
Greedy clown. Yeah,
Ronald.
Yeah. One and the same.
He's got a children's charity.
He does. Except he's asking us to donate to it.
That's true. Where does he fit into the picture?
Yeah. What?
You think he's operating on people?
Absentee father.
Absentee father.
Yeah. There is a commercial. I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
And I knew you wanted me to.
I did bring it up, but is that there's a commercial now because there's a new sandwich in Canada called the Big Arch, and people are trying that out. Let me know. Is it good? But is that I keep hearing an ad for it where Ronald calls the Hamburglar about the sandwich, and he goes like, "Oh, Hamburger's calling." He goes, "Oh yeah, you want to grab some sandwiches?" And then you hear "robble, robble, robble" because that's what hamburger sounds like.
Of course.
And he's like, "Wait a second, you just want to steal those sandwiches?" And he goes, "Robble, robble," and he goes, "Oh, Hamburglar." And I was like, "Why are you friends with this guy?" Why? What? This is no different than the Steam review. This is about friendship. What did you expect him to say?
Yeah,
I want to steal hamburgers. That's my fucking job.
He's the snake that bit the scorpion on its back, or whatever that thing is. He's like, why'd you do that? 'Cause I'm a snake.
A jail suit already.
He's in a jail suit
and a cape and a fancy hat.
I will say, I would befriend the Hamburglar just to shake his hand and tell him how much I appreciated his role in "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" I think it was a stunning performance to go toe to toe, robble robble indeed, with George Clooney, the likes of George Clooney, and you're sharing a screen with one of the greats. And as the Hamburglar who can only say one thing to not quite bring me to tears, but to make me feel feel something, anything in this crazy world that we live in.
Yeah. I heard it was the Hamburglar that said, "I've got a version of Homer's Odyssey that I would love to turn into a musical about the South."
It was.
And then they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Robble, robble, robble." It was like, oh wait, I think he said something insightful.
But his spec script was, first of all, an oral tradition. He had to say it to them.
Yes, he did. And they had to cut some stuff. There was so much stuff about stealing hamburgers that they had to cut. But like,
well, that's what they went to jail for in the first place.
Yeah. That was the whole thing about just sacks of hamburgers they're carrying over their back.
They kept on going back to jail because he kept stealing hamburgers.
Yeah. Hey, every once in a while, somebody in the scene would go, "What about our hamburgers?" And they had to cut all that.
You know, and then there's like as a viewer, and okay, I didn't want to be this critical because I know we talked about the laser thing with science fiction, but I don't want to
classic Roger Ebert here, you know.
And I'm gonna do that if you'll allow me.
Okay,
and
sure.
Understanding that I do think that the movie in general works, but this was something that I found distracting because of all the hamburgers, and we have to assume that they're going for like years at a time. They're trying to escape from this prison with the sack of hamburgers. Doesn't it smell?
Yeah,
aren't they soggy?
Yes, absolutely. I think the hamburger in general smells. But you know, everyone probably smelled back then.
That's, you know what? Okay, I didn't think about it like that, but it's the eating thing then.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it make them?
Well, that's
sick?
probably why they cut it.
That's true.
That's probably why they cut it.
That's probably why they cut it.
You know, George's directs your mind, like, you know, of amazing classics like Leatherheads and Boys in the Boat.
Boys in the Boat was the one that
put those
I
boys
was
in the
going
boat.
to. He put them in.
He
and
put those boys
you know,
in the
much
boat.
much like Odysseus, he put his boys in the boat, but it took them 10 years to get home.
That is unbelievable. And Helen of Troy was a pile of hamburgers.
The face that launched 1,000 franchises?
Finn. But yeah, for $8.99. Oh my God. I tried so hard to go back into it. For $8.99, totally worth it. Chained Together, absolutely worth it.
For $8.99, you could fucking rent "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
And you should. It's a good movie. I totally would do it with someone that you like. Do it with someone you like.
Do it with someone.
Do not do an enemy type thing. Like that would be.
Do you think that would bring them closer together?
Yes, because if you're already starting in a bad place, you'd have to build up from there.
It would be fun to watch people play this as enemies and see how close or far apart they grow.
I'd be a good couples therapist because I'd just break out this game and I'm like, let's
just watching over their shoulders.
Just make sure you guys talk to each other. Also, you're taking notes. Like, oh, that was a good move.
That's a good move. I should have done that.
Yeah.
You can do that with the chain. I didn't know that. So do you want to get into our reviews of this game, Andrew?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, you know what? Never mind the old school reviews because this is a very, very new game.
Trying to explain to this as a kid for me would be like, what?
What do you mean?
Why is that
online?
With somebody else?
Whispering
Vault. One day.
Andrew, why don't you let us know your bit score? How many bits out of 4 bits are you giving this one?
Oh, this is impossible to mark.
Like, so?
Well, yeah, because it's not like, you know, you play a game with a story and progression and stuff like that. And you're like, interesting, the story and the graphics and the whatever, the music, whatever. This does feel gimmicky, but I'm not sure that that's a bad thing. The gimmick itself is the appeal to the actual game. The characters are hilarious in the way that there isn't really any except for the little baby devil, who is like the most Looney Tunes character of all time. Yeah. There's at one point a car because, you know, whatever. I
like that.
You like the car?
I did.
But if it really just comes down to the simple idea, do you like the premise or not? Do you like the idea of teamwork or not? Because it is just a game of teamwork.
Yeah.
And if that appeals to you, then you'll really like this game. I personally want more couch co-op. I like games like this. I don't know how much I would play this, like progressively get through the game. I don't even know if I have a big desire to beat this game, but I enjoyed my time playing it. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I echo a lot of those sentiments with the exception of like, I would like to beat this game.
Really?
I would like to keep playing it, not on my own, but with someone else. I think about how much joy you and I got for 45 minutes playing this game without it. And I got to say, no collectibles.
No.
Like the Astro Bot
You kept
thing.
trying.
I kept out of instinct going and like looking around corners and being like, is there a collectible here? Is there a collectible there? That's one thing that I find annoying about Astro Bot is like, you can never just look forward because you're always worried that you're going to miss a collectible. In this game, there are none. And it feels great to just move forward and only forward. And it feels great to do that in a little bit of a wacky way, to actually incorporate some problem solving, to actually incorporate a little bit of like Twitch mechanics and teamwork. It completely succeeded on what it's trying to do. I'm going in between a 3 and a 3.5 on this one.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I think there maybe are better co-op games that would warrant the 3.5, but this is like a very heavy 3 for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's a heavy 3.
It's a heavy 3.
You almost like a 3.5, like maybe.
Oh man, when you put it that way.
2 3s for a 6 out of 8. That's our score. I don't know. I would fully endorse this. Play with somebody else. Play with somebody you can talk to, whether it's online or next to you. It's a fun experiment on teamwork and communication, and you'll be guaranteed to laugh. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like playing online would be hard with like ping
Delays
and all that.
Yeah, oh, I know. Yeah, no, I agree with you. But nonetheless, I think it's designed to be played with somebody else.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, okay. So last thing we got to say before we go, next week is going to be the last of the regular weekly episodes of the Retrograde podcast. We are not going anywhere. Please don't unsubscribe. Please keep with us over at YouTube and podcast platforms, because we will still be releasing lots of stuff, but just it might not be every Tuesday morning for a bit, because Mikey and I are working on a new project that we will be announcing very, very soon. But what we want to do is come back and keep playing games like Chain Together. That's a ton of fun. So we'll be doing that more. But for next week, if you have anything you'd like to say to us, anything this podcast has meant to you, you have a memory, you have a funny story, you heard it in a weird place, there's always been something that stuck with you, please let us know, because next week's episode is going to be us just talking about submissions and memories and things from you guys, because
it's going to be very navel gazing, I think, is what we'll be doing. Yeah.
Yes. But we want to memorialize the podcast a little bit, even though we're not going anywhere, just because it feels like a nice moment to do it.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Appreciate everyone who's reached out so far as well. We've gotten
nice.
a lot of feedback. So apologies if we can't fit everyone's in, but that's why you got to make your submissions good, baby.
Oh, absolutely. But until next week, we love every single one of you, and we can't wait to talk to you soon. My name is Andrew Baskin. With me, as always, is the best boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself,
Mikey Aaronworth.
This is the Retrograde Podcast.
Game over. No, get over here.
Yeah.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
I lost my towel.